arms. Caleb, are you ready to get into it?
Absolutely.
So the Dodgers have made quite a splash in the last couple of weeks, or last 2 weeks, I guess I should say, signing both Shohei Ohtani and I don't want to mispronounce his first name because I honestly do not quite know how to pronounce it yet, but Yamamoto from Japan, signing him to a 12-year, $325 million contract. And as more of a baseball casual, I did not really know much about him. I watched a little bit of him when he played in the Baseball Classic in 2023, I think? 2022? Which one was it? I can't remember. But anyway,
Uh,
one of those years, and he was really good. He made a lot of American hitters look not very good. And while researching before this episode, he deserves this contract. It looks like because he's won back to back to back. They're called Sawamura Awards, which is Japan's equivalent to the Cy Young, posting an ERA under 1.7 in each of those 3 seasons, which is pretty nuts. I mean, the more you read into him, the more you can kind of understand why he was given this contract. And now the Dodgers have locked down two of our, if Yamamoto works out over in the MLB, two of arguably the best pitchers in the league. Once Otani can get back to pitching, obviously. But I think this Dodgers team is going
yeah.
to be pretty stupid for the next little while, which, I mean, they've already been pretty stupid for the last little while, but they just got a whole lot better. Which there's definitely a point where I think, at least I thought that these two would be going to the Yankees. So I guess I'm not complaining. This is a better of two evils, at least the way I look at it. Because, I mean, at least they're in, as a Blue Jays fan, at least they're in the National League.
Yeah. And I mean, as a Mariners fan, I can feel the same. And it's like I'm glad to get Otani out of my division. Like he's in the same city. He just moved to the other conference. Perfectly fine with me.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting that Yamamoto is choosing to go to the Dodgers here because really the fact that he got this contract, the fact that it's A for so long and B for so much money, the most in MLB history for a pitcher, which is crazy for a guy who has never played an MLB game. Um, that is all because Otani set the precedent before him by coming from Japan and immediately dominating in the MLB and showing that the comparison between the two leagues is maybe if you're dominating in that league, chances are you will be able to dominate in the MLB. Otani made that possible, and it's becoming like the next great. Like it's in baseball, you're always searching for the next great thing, right? And it's looking like out in Japan, that's where that's starting to come from with Otani leading the way. I
And
think
it's
that
not
the
just
biggest thing for
Otani as
me,
well. Like, there's been a couple examples with it,
Mhm.
with you Darvish and the other name that I'm seeing on this article that, again, I don't know how to pronounce a lot of these names, so I feel a little bad. But Masahiro Tanaka, I believe, both
yeah,
having combined 7 All-Star selections. I mean, that's got to show something, right? I mean, it's this is the one sport where a player can come from a completely different league and just instantly sign an insane contract and dominate. Like you just don't see that anywhere
yeah,
else. Like there's the only similarity I can think of is like the NBA with the European leagues. Occasionally we'll see a guy come over and he'll be pretty good, but never to this level. Like never somebody who comes over and just instantly is expected to be a superstar. Like that's
yeah,
very rare in any other sport. And we're seeing this almost on a like how long ago? I think Otani came over in 2018. So like once every 5 years, we're just seeing a Japanese player come over and just be insane, sign an insane contract, and just add to the talent that is already spread across the league. I mean, sadly, it's for the for the Dodgers, but I'm pretty excited to see him play. I remember watching him in that World Baseball Classic because I know that was my introduction to him. I hadn't heard of him or seen him prior to that, and I mean, they beat America. I think everybody, or again, baseball casual through and through, but like I definitely would have expected America to win those games, but no, Japan kicked their ass. Like it was actually pretty cool to
yeah.
see. Like I mean, I'm definitely excited for what. this means for. It's always exciting to see more foreign players coming in like any sport. We've seen it a lot in like the NHL for the last 20 years with Canadians starting to, while they're still dominating, they're starting to break down a little bit. We're seeing more and more Europeans and just players from all over the world coming in and doing it, and we're seeing that even more in baseball. And I know that has been a more common thing in baseball, but it's still cool to see nonetheless. So I'm definitely happy for it.
Yeah. Yeah, it just shows how much more of a global sport baseball is in compared to anything else. Like you're right, it really is unprecedented in any other sport. Because I mean, in basketball you see it sometimes where you get players like Luca or more recently like Wembanyama, they're coming in, and they're proven that they can like especially with Luca with the sustained success he's had with Wembanyama, obviously we'll see, but I feel like there's a difference between that and someone like Otani coming in and immediately being the best player to play baseball in a long time and getting the biggest contract in MLB history by a long shot. It wasn't even particularly close. I think the next, I'm gonna have my stats completely off, but I think the next closest contract was like 200 or 300 million less in terms of the precedent that it set. And then for Yamamoto to come in and get a 12-year deal, like those are completely unprecedented. And no other sport is seeing that other than baseball, which I think is super cool. And if it's gonna give that World Baseball Classic, like you keep bringing it up as your introduction to Yamamoto, that is unbelievable. Like that event, I am not a baseball fan, because you're more of a casual baseball fan, Simon. I'm even more of a casual baseball
Yeah.
fan. I will check the Mariners scores on the Score app maybe a couple times a week,
I
and I'll keep up with the
probably
news. But
I probably watch maybe 30 like Blue Jays games a year. I kind of spread it out.
yeah,
But I mean, I still like to
oh
check in every
yeah,
once in a while. I'm still sad. Actually, this is a good time to bring it up. I am very depressed about the fact that the Blue Jays didn't get Otani. That was so heartbreaking. Like this was
they
like
just
the.
had to give you a little hope. They had to give
I
you a little
know,
hope.
I know, because the whole time I was thinking he's going to the Dodgers. Why would he choose the Blue Jays over the Dodgers? It doesn't make sense. And then the plane happened. Like the whole plane thing happened. I was like, holy shit, we're gonna get Otani. And then nope, it was
Nope.
just some guy from Shark Tank, and we're not getting Otani. But hey, we got a guy from Shark Tank. Lovely.
I thought it was funny. Apparently, the guy who it was saying on Twitter after the game, it's like, "Oh yeah, I'm really sorry, I'm not Otani, but my
Yeah.
6-year-old son throws a mean fastball if the Blue Jays are still interested." Love that. Love
Hell
that.
yeah.
Um,
I think we'll take him at this point.
yeah,
We'll sign him to
yeah.
a
No,
25-year contract. Let's make it work.
it's an investment in the future. But yeah, no, like it's like going back to that World Baseball Classic. It's that event. Even though I know like jack shit about baseball, um, that got me interested. I was like keeping up with that,
Oh
and
yeah.
I don't think I was able to play games for whatever reason, but I was like continually checking in and more interested in that than I had ever been anything in baseball because it's just such a cool global display of talent for a sport like that. That is really like kind of unmatched. And I believe they're bringing because I know baseball in the Olympics has had a little bit of a rocky history, but we did a segment on it, and I believe it's
When are
coming
they?
back full force.
Yeah, they're bringing it back at some point.
Um,
I thought it was
yeah, they're bringing it back at some
2026,
point.
right?
I think they're. I don't. I'm maybe getting my sports mixed up. I don't know if they're.
I thought it was
Um,
26, but I'm not sure. I'd have to look it. I'd have to double check
it
that.
might be
But
2026.
yeah.
Or no, 2026 is winter, so it's either
Oh shit.
2024 or 2028.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But either way, that's going to be incredible. To just have that full kind of national stage of talent. Um, because when the Olympics are hit and miss for a lot of sports, but when you actually have all of the world's best talent playing for their countries, that's the thing that's just like transcends anything else. Because baseball is a cool sport. Baseball, I I kind of hate on it a lot, but I think it's just because it's overdone to the point of um, and not being interesting anymore. But like watching the Mariners try to get into the playoffs or watching them in the playoffs for the first time in like 21 years. That stuff is amazing. And this new wave of players with like Otani and Yamamoto setting the stage for a potential like amazing scene in global baseball for years to come, like that's exciting for me. And that's something if you're looking to grow the game of baseball that's kind of been on life support for the last few years, like this is how you do it. And I really hope that um, the Yamamoto signing works out because we know Otani's going to be good.
I mean,
We know he's
the
gonna this
more I
guy
look into him,
seven
it's
hundred
just
million.
like it is crazy.
Yeah, and
1.16 ERA
he'll- he'll-
last year. What even is that? Across like I can't even think of the last time I would have seen one that low in
it's
any league.
yeah,
Like
it's a lot to live up to. A 12,
yeah,
12-year
yeah.
highest paid contract in MLB history without having thrown a single pitch in an MLB game. That's a lot to live up to. So I'm not going
No,
to come out
he
here
can't
and
be a
say he's an
bust.
immediate superstar.
No, he can't be a
Yeah,
bust. Like it's
he can't be a bust.
like there's
They by giving him this
nothing.
contract, they have said there is like he has to live up to the potential. Which I mean, I don't know him or how he deals with pressure. Obviously, an amazing player.
I mean, he's
Hopefully
never
that
had
doesn't
an
sink in.
ERA in his 6-year career over in Japan over 2.4. Like
Yeah,
what?
which is crazy.
It is crazy. It's just like I don't even have words to describe how stupid that is. Like I can't like how many players in baseball in the MLB have ever had? Obviously, he's going to have a step down in stats. I think that's a safe assumption. Like
Yeah.
he's not going to come into the MLB and throw 1.16 ERA. That's not happening.
Yeah.
But
The question is how sharp that step down is.
yeah.
Will it be a step
Yeah.
down that still places him in like Cy Young contention,
Well,
or
I
will
think
it be a like major step down?
I wonder what Otani's stats in the Japan League were like.
And I mean, the thing about Otani too is that his stats probably will be, especially in terms of pitching, will probably be not as good, just because Otani's thing is his dual threat ability. Like that's what
Yeah.
makes him special.
Yeah. I think it's still an interesting thing to take a peek at, though.
Yeah. Just to see the difference.
Nowhere as good. Wow. In his last year, I'm trying to understand this. No, it's still pretty impressive, but it's nowhere close. Like I'm seeing a lot of like he had a lot of like 3.2, 3.42. He had a season at 1.86. 2015 2.24. Like still impressive, obviously, but when you go from looking at what Otani did to looking at Yamamoto's stats, it's not close. Yamamoto is like at least compared to what Otani was doing. To be fair, Otani was younger, but comparing them isn't very close. Yamamoto blows him out of the water.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like the other thing to think about if Yamamoto plays up to this contract and is a Hall of Fame level pitcher, how much do you think that opens the door for other players in the Japanese leagues?
I mean,
or even other
I think the
leagues
door's
to come
already
to
wide open. I think that
Yeah, but
obviously it'll keep
even
going.
then, like,
Yeah.
because right now the MLB is kind of just skimming the superstars off the top. It's like Otani, Yamamoto, guys you can't miss, but like you wonder like how much more talent is in there.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
Because like yeah, because Yamamoto is playing at a significantly higher level than the rest of them. But even those like top 5%, like I'm sure they could compete in the MLB too. It's really interesting. It's really interesting. Yeah.
The longer I look at the stat sheet, the more I seriously don't even know what to say about it. Like it's stupid. If this guy can do anything remotely close to what he's got here, he's going to be insane in the MLB. That contract is going. He might be the highest paid pitcher in the MLB, but if he can get anywhere close to a 1.16, people are going to be calling him underpaid. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
That's the thing with these long-term contracts, right? It's like it's a huge risk in terms of the bust potential, but if he lives up to like 70% of what he's being hyped as or what those stats are, then yeah, you're right. It's going to be an underpay. And
Yeah.
with how long term it is.
I mean, the one nitpick that people had on him that I'm reading about is that, and this should show you that how small of a nitpick on it, because it's not even really that, it's very minor, is that his fastball's only, and I emphasize only, 95 miles per hour. Only.
Oh, wow.
I know. Wow. Golly gee. I mean, yeah, literally in the article it says, while 95 miles per hour alone won't blow anyone away. It's like, Jesus. If he makes it work, he makes it work. I think that's quicker than a lot of pitchers in the MLB. A lot of elite ones as well.
Yep.
I don't think oh god, I just put my I don't think I could name one off the top of my head, but I'm gonna make myself look dumb. Does Garrett Cole throw that fast of a fastball? I feel like he's one.
I would assume so.
97. Whatever. I don't care. Point still stands. What's 2 miles per hour? He'll be fine. Like,
Yeah.
there's plenty of pitchers in the MLB who survive with 90 mile per hour. 95 will still kill. And from what I'm reading, he's got a killer curveball. Splitter was also really, really good in Japan. His cutter is what he uses the least, but still, he still throws it at 92 miles per hour. I mean, what else can you say about him? He's going to be good. Like, I don't know if there's, even with how, I don't know, even with how, like, I don't know, I'm having a stroke. I'm tired. First segment of the day. Week off, whatever. We're getting back into it, but yeah, he's going to be good. I seriously, even with how like mental pitching in baseball is, I seriously just don't. This guy's confidence has to be through the roof. Like this, he's got to just be ready. I don't think there is a player on earth more ready to go up to the MLB and just instantly dominate.
Yeah, and I mean that's what they're saying with how long they're paying him for. They're paying him until what, 2035? I'm like, we're gonna be in our 30s at that point when this contract expires. Like, to get perspective on how long that's gonna be.
Yeah.
But let's say that, because how long was Otani's contract? Was Otani's was similarly long. I think it was like
was it
10.
12? I can't remember.
It was. I don't know if it was matching. I feel like it might have been 10. Yeah, 10.
10?
10.
That makes sense.
So let's say
Ohtani is older.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but I mean, another thing we can talk about as well is how they're like structuring his deal. Did you hear about that at all?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, they're going to be paying $700
until after he leaves.
Pretty much, yeah. Like he's going to be only getting paid $2 million per year for the next 10 seasons. Like, I mean, yeah, the Dodgers are going to win everything. They're going to be rough.
I don't understand how that works.
Neither do I.
I know baseball doesn't have a salary cap, so it doesn't even really matter.
I guess. But I mean, he's gonna just get paid like $70 million, or not $70 million a season. Oh no, it kind of is $70 million a season. It's close, I think. Like after his, probably once he retires. I mean, it's honestly kind of smart on his part. Like I respect it a lot.
It is, because I mean it's so smart on his part, because I mean he's gonna be raking in that $2 million. Obviously, anybody's going to be fine with $2 million per year.
That's good.
But he's also making stuff from. Well, he's a player. He's going to be making stuff from endorsements and jersey sales. Like there's going to be all sorts of other income that he's getting. And then once he doesn't have that anymore, now that's when the real money kicks in.
On like advertisements and stuff. Like he's got to be, and sponsors. He's got to be making. He's
I see him on like the New Balance ads all the time.
Yeah, he's got to be making at least 10. Like even without his contract. So I don't think he has to worry about money. He'll live.
Nope. Okay, I'll kind of end. I think I'll end this segment with a question for you, Simon.
Okay.
So Otani's deal is 10 years, and Yamamoto, barring things going wrong or whatever, he's going to be there that entire time too. The next 10 years, how many World Series titles are the Dodgers going to win?
Oh. Well, a lot. I mean,
Yeah,
I feel like we've been waiting for the Dodgers to really take over the MLB, and it hasn't really happened. I know they won one at some point in the last 5 years, but I don't. I mean, this is the best team they're going to have by far. Once Otani's healthy, this team's going to be ridiculous. I
yeah.
don't know if they win next year. So,
No,
yeah, I would.
that's because he's not healthy. Yeah,
Well, I think Otani can hit, but I don't think he can pitch. I think that's what they
he
were
can't
saying.
pitch.
So, and whether that's an issue for the Dodgers have the depth to deal with it. Like they have the stupidest
Yeah,
like pitching thing ever, and Otani will still be an incredible hitter. So I don't even think that'll be too big of an issue for them. But I don't know. I just don't think it takes 1 year to get used to a new team, really. So I'd say they don't win this year, but they're probably ballpark, probably four. I'd say they win four. Because like,
or yeah, I
yeah,
was thinking.
Otani's had some injury issues. Let's assume he goes out for a couple more seasons every once in a while, right? Like,
Yeah,
yeah, four. I think four is a pretty safe number. But if in 10 years we're looking at it and they won half and they actually won five, I don't know if I'd be too surprised. They've got the stupidest team in baseball. It's not close.
yeah. It's set up to be the next dynasty, and I mean it is tough to make projections this far out because you don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And it's so like things can happen in the playoffs, especially when it's like only a 5 game series or whatever. Like stupid shit can happen. Um, I'd say 3 to 4 is pretty ballpark, which it feels like I'm lowballing them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the
Which
weird thing,
saying
right?
they're gonna win 3 championships, that feels and it feels for any other team that's astronomical. Like
Oh yeah.
that is a dynasty.
I would love for
If
two
you win three
championships with the Blue
championships in
Jays.
10 years. Yeah, like most teams don't get one in like 50 years. So to say that it feels like we're lowballing them, that's just how insane this team is going to be and how impactful this last week has been for the Dodgers. Has any baseball team ever had any I'll take it up another notch. Has any sports team ever had as good of a week as the Dodgers have had this last week? That's like because you can obviously winning championships, but like in terms of setting yourself up for the future, you've just signed the two hottest commodities in baseball for the next decade plus.
I can't
That has
think of
got to be
anything.
one of the best. That's got to be one of the best weeks a team has had in a long time, and I cannot imagine how ecstatic Dodgers fans are. And props, honestly, to Dodgers management and ownership for being
Yeah.
willing to spend this amount of money
Well,
to invest in your
they've
team.
always been willing to spend that much, right? That's the Dodgers for you. Like
Yeah,
they
and I
they
mean it's
now
because they're a big market,
what's their budget look like now?
but still,
I'm
it's
curious.
got to be through the roof.
Like budget 2024. Um. Okay, that's with taxes, but we can ignore that. Dodgers are the highest, but only by $1 million. I don't know. Is this when was this? This was 3 hours ago. So
Yeah, I mean, I
they
wonder how much Otani's weird contract situation factors into it.
Yeah, so they are at 285 million. The Mets, who are in second, are at 284. And yeah,
Hmm.
actually, that's a good point with Otani's contract. Yeah, you have to. You That's a really good point. Actually, I wasn't even thinking about that. Like, how much does that actually impact it? What would their if he never changed it? What would their salary look like?
Well, I
It'd
mean,
be
it's 70 million per year, so it would top the. And so
350.
let's assume that this is at 2 million. Yeah,
Oh my god,
it's insane.
that is insane. Okay, well we can move on. I think we've
Yep.
talked about how good the Dodgers are going to be and how we're all going to have to cry